Yow! Thanks for tuning in. Mook Mondays. So, I appreciate y'all tuning in to Mook Mondays. I'm in the stew, in the soup bowl with my boy Moya, and we're gonna answer some questions. So let's get this thing started.
All right.
Mook. I went with Mook because it's something that I can identify with. It being my nickname growing up, I felt like me sticking with Mook was me sticking with being myself. If I used some other nickname or a different type of moniker, that I was gonna find myself trying to live up to something that I wasn't, or trying to give myself an image. Just keeping it myself, I can remain myself through my music without any pressure. So I felt like Mook was just appropriate. It's who I am, and I don't want to represent anything else besides that. So how I got into music is I got into music through my family. I come from a very musical family. My grandmother played piano and she sang. She was also a dancer. She taught a lot of people locally. My grandfather was also a dancer and was and is still heavily into jazz music. So I definitely grew up with a lot of jazz influence, and with my grandmother playing the piano. When I started playing my own music in the band growing up is when I started to get a real love and affinity for melodies, and how harmonizing between two completely different instruments can sound amazing. And then through that, later on in my teenage years, my mom got married, and she married a preacher, and so that kind of gave me insight into gospel music. Some traditional gospel, but I was definitely into the more contemporary gospel, where I got more into the storytelling, and traditional gospel has a lot of storytelling, and then contemporary gospel where I got into the cadences and the drum beats. Blue Collar Raps is kind of like my hello to anybody that's listening. It definitely is an insight to who I am in the now, and like the core of what my message is, and kind of I want to express my POV, my point of view clearly, and I believe that's what Blue Collar Raps was. And to me, Blue Collar Raps means that the reason why I chose that title is because my team and I are very much blue collar in this industry. We don't have a label backing us up. We don't have our parents helping us pay for things. It's truly just us learning, failing, getting dirty, and coming up through this industry by our own grit, making these connections, and so I feel like this is a very blue collar experience to the music industry. I don't have a cousin that is signed through somebody else like that. We're coming literally from the ground up. So that's kind of what we're working with. I'm a real person, and I want to connect with real people who get frustrated with day-to-day, meticulous and monotonous work that they have to do to make ends meet, who are just trying to reach that next plateau. And so that's kind of my POV, is definitely speaking to not just men, but women also, but just people in general who have goals and aspirations and dreams. And yeah. Music is important to me because it transcends sound. Like, yeah, I mean it's definitely vibration, and you hear it, but music is something that you also feel. No matter the language, you might not understand what the language is, you definitely feel the message sometimes. So even a person who didn't speak English, if they were listening to realize, they could tell that I'm very upset, or I'm very angry, or that I've gone through something. So I definitely feel that music is important because it's what connects all of us. It's a universal language. one of the favorite lyrics that I've written. One of my favorite lyrics that I've written is gotta show the world that I'm serious. The hours that I'm putting in got me feeling delirious. Every day I'm clocking in, I clock it to another grind. No matter what I'm doing, got bars growing up in my mind. I gotta stay on point. I gotta get these stacks, boy. Nothing was handed to me because I was a black boy. I think those lines right there definitely speak to, you know, the struggle that I've gone through. I think people see my exterior and see that I have a nice job now and think that everything has been gravy. But definitely it's taken time, it's taken dedication, it's taken sacrifice to even put myself in this position. And now that I am in this position, that I have a good plan B, I'm able to work on my plan A. Now I'm driving myself crazy with, you know, losing sleep, trying to sacrifice the sleep in order to, you know, make my dreams come true and happen. So I think those bars right there definitely speak to my, you know, speak to my fans about who I am to my core. Like, I'm relentless with this. I'm tireless with this. Like, I'm gonna keep on going. It doesn't matter. Like, no matter what I'm doing, I'm like rapping in my head. Like, I take this so serious. So I love that. I love those bars. But yeah. Those bars are from Focus, which is one of my leading singles from my mixtape Blue Collar Raps, which is very special to me because it was nominated for Asheville Video Music Award for Best Soundtrack, and I'm very proud of that, which is, you know, a great honor because I had only had the video out for just a couple days, you know, when we got the nomination, and I had only been doing this for, you know, less than a year at that point, so it was an esteemed honor and an amazing pleasure to meet everyone that was involved. So the new project is called Dapper Dan. It's definitely the next step from the Blue Collar Raps, still in the well-dressed theme, I guess you could say. But I think that's kind of part of who I am. I mean, even when I'm going to the grocery store, like in the middle of the night to get some milk or something, I'm a well put together, or at least I try to be a well put together individual. And not because I care about what anybody thinks of me, it's just how I like to represent myself. And so I think Dapper Dan definitely speaks to my, you know, to my appearance, but also to my song structure. I also like to have very dapper songs that are well put together, that are nice and tidy, and you know, are appealing from top to bottom. So I think I titled it that because that's really what I want to deliver. Upcoming shows, you can find me in Asheville on August 24th at Timo's house at the Rave in Us Rap and Rave show, put on by Joshua Morningstar from the Last Word Benders, a very talented crew. After that, August 27th, also in Asheville, you'll find me at Salvage Station at the Inside Out Showcase, which is a collective of artists and executives that have come together for a workshop to give us an inside and outside view of this industry and give us some great advice and opportunities to work and connect with music executives. And then September 10th and 11th, also in Asheville, it'll be our second festival appearance. We'll be doing Goombay Festival on, again, that's September the 10th and the 11th. We'll have a main stage performance as well as a community side stage to support some of the other local acts that have gone through the Inside Out program that haven't yet made it to main stage. But that's where you can find me. I hope to see all of you guys soon. If you can't make it locally, make sure that you keep your eyes peeled to the live streams of myself, Marcus Mook Cunningham, my manager, Janoli Rodriguez, or my engineer and producer, Jacob Moya, who, as I mentioned earlier, will sometimes stream live at every opportunity that we can to those performances so that you guys can join in on the excitement. I definitely want to shout out Nex Malin for all the opportunities and advice that he's given. I definitely want to shout out Jessica Thomason for giving us the opportunity to perform at Goombay, and just some of the expertise that she's brought into the Inside Out program. Ben Hovey for his contribution to our team with his excellence with Ableton. I definitely want to shout out my mom, because that's always going to be, I guess, my number one fan. I want to shout out some of the local artists that have kind of paved the way, for me to come through. That definitely would be Lyric, an amazing artist, and who I hope to work with very soon. Jonathan Santos, who is someone that I'm working with now, but he's an amazingly talented artist. Pofolk, who is kind of like an OG in my lane here, especially in the local scene. My brother Trapper made it, just for his insight with this scene. My cousin AR Banks and his team, and his boy Alpha Lee, just for the support. Definitely want to give a shout out to Saya, Michael Martinez, Tone, that's Polo Rock. I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Dave Spaceman Jones, and also what he's doing with the Asheville Free Radio, and that's the Asheville radio station, which is 103.3 FM. Support local radio, and for what they do for local artists. Not just myself, but everybody around. We always need somebody around that's willing to support that. I definitely want to give a huge shout out to a longtime friend, LaPrince Green, for actually helping me, package my concept of what my POV was going to be, and just finding my voice and helping me identify what was going to be consistent that I could identify with, so I wouldn't have to struggle. What else? Who else? Janoli Rodriguez, definitely. I've mentioned her like so many times in this video. I can't not say thank you to her for all her tireless work. Jacob Moya, Jay Moya, for his tireless work and listening to me bitch about something not sounding the way I want it to sound, and he's telling me that it does, and he usually is right. So definitely got to say that. Thank you for that. Thank you to Nelly for her dedication to our family, and thank you to my grandfather for always being supportive. Always. Bam.